I'm Mike, this is Colin.
Hi.
We are, one of the most common questions we get asked by our clients is what's going on in the market. So we thought,
candidates.
And candidates, that's true. And we thought that would be quite timely to do quarterly updates, just to have a natter about what we're finding out there.
Yeah, just to try and get a feel for what's happening, as I say, for both clients and candidates, understand what the dynamics are, where the demand, where the kind of pinch points or pain points are within the market, and just mull it over between us.
Yeah, what's hot and what's not, and what's likely to be hot. Good. So, what are you finding in your world?
Well, at the risk of sounding like a broken record, Mike, I think it's fair to say AI dominates the landscape in terms of conversations, both from a candidate perspective, candidates trying to understand how do I upskill, how do I get up to speed with what the hot skills are, what the in-demand skills are, and how to basically position myself as a candidate that will be attractive in the new world of AI tooling and AI solutions.
Can you see AI taking any jobs away in finance?
Well, interesting. So at this point in time, rather than taking away, I'm seeing a couple of things. One, causing a delay. So I've spoken to a few clients that have recently talked about AI proof of concepts that are currently going through the motions. So basically clients looking at having already invested in AI, looking at to validate the return on investment on those.
So rolling it out.
Absolutely.
We've got it, but how do we roll it out?
Correct.
And
correct.
how do we make sure it's safe?
How do we make sure it's safe? How do we make sure it's compliant within the current regulatory frameworks? But before then continuing to roll it out enterprise-wide, it's like a gradual scaling. So that certainly the delay is caused, and I suppose the irony is that having caused the delay, it will then, if implemented, it will then shape the way hiring is done going forward.
Yeah, I think what I'm starting to notice is that there's maybe less and less entry level positions across all our verticals, and that's what kind of really worries me in a way. So
from a succession planning perspective, from a talent management perspective, it's really tough.
Yeah. So are these in financial services, the operations roles, the settlements, the reconciliations, finance, the bookkeeping roles, legal operations, the paralegal roles. Absolutely. And that kind of, the impact of that worries me of where we'll be in 10, 15 years. The
exact same is true in change and transformation, the sort of junior trainee business analysts, the project management office, all the kind of support, the process management, which is either already automated or will be automated under AI-based tools. How does that allow the project managers, the strategic transformation leaders of the future, build their understanding of the end-to-end transformation?
So basically, the guys that are experienced enough to do the oversight of AI will be in demand, but there won't be a continual supply chain of them coming through.
100%.
Yeah, that's a worry.
That is a worry.
So there's a lot of success stories that we see across the Scottish kind of ecosystem within financial and professional services of people that head up companies that started from as school leavers or actually not even university leavers, school leavers. You'd go and get a job at Widows, Standard Life, places, RBS, places like that, and learn your ropes and work your way through. What are you thinking is going to be the new pathway for kids leaving uni and school now to get into these industries?
Certainly from what I'm seeing, from a future-proofing perspective, the phrase that keeps coming back is regulatory translation. So being able to get in amongst understanding what the regulations mean, because the AI solutions will exist. They're going to be there. It's then how do we interpret that in a commercial context? So being able to, I don't know whether it be self-study or what that means for actually training, but you're right, those entry-level roles are unlikely to exist.
And Genk Academia will do its usual, take 20 years to catch up with where the demand is.
Well, I think it inevitably will.
Inevitably does. Because my take on it is, I think that the kind of graduate schemes, if you like, to business that are always been highly coveted, but it's actually only really a small percentage of people who leave school, leave education, get that, right? It's like, you're lucky if it's 1% of the total job seekers out there at that age. The rest of us all had to get admin jobs and start and work our way through. Those graduate schemes, which will kind of parachute people into those more technical operations, are going to come really, really, really high demand. I'd say.
Absolutely. They're so competitive.
More so than before. So I suppose then, we kind of covered this, but what's hot and what's not in your world?
So as I said, that phrase of regulatory translation, that is it. So, for example, I'm just working with a client at the moment who have brought out a very senior level role, which would previously in former guises would have been purely delivery.
Yeah.
It's based on delivery. But because it's basically owning a data platform for a large financial services business.
Yeah.
Now, typically, as I say, historically, that would have been a delivery role, it would have been a management role, strategic role. But now it's all about risk. It's all about managing risk, because what the software engineering teams are delivering to this data platform are AI-based solutions.
Yeah.
So instead of just facilitating, it's all about how do we develop new service level agreements and service frameworks to understand how the customers use the data that comes through, the internal customers I'm talking about, how they use that data that's coming through the platform in the context of new AI solutions. So it's almost like the unknown. It's a brave new world of data being processed through these platforms.
Yeah.
Do we now need to design and implement new frameworks, the risk frameworks, service level agreements and frameworks?
So that's where your change world kind of touches into my
100%.
operational risk world, because that's what's hot in our world.
Yeah.
Is operational risk.
Yeah.
So everything seems to be we've paid for this stuff. Let's make sure it's doing the job it's supposed to.
Yeah, and it's compliant.
Yeah, so we've seen a demand in operational risk. We're anticipating to see a demand in anti-financial crime roles.
Yeah.
Our colleagues at BIT have seen that increase in the sort of cyber security, but more the kind of policy making side of things that we look after. We're expecting to see that. We've actually got a survey coming out quite soon, which will underline that we've been doing with a lot of our clients. And the other hot area, I would say, not limited to just financial services, but a lot of our legal clients are quite busy in things like data, IP, because there's so many fintechs now starting to pop up to solve another problem using AI. That the sort of legal guys are having to keep up to make sure that their due diligence is done. So what's hot then, we're saying, is AI-related roles, ops risk, legal compliance.
Yeah, absolutely. In the finance space as well, I think that whole regulatory piece, the regulatory reporting, there's so many, I think in a recent post I described the regulatory landscape as a kind of whack-a-mole of regulations. One pops up, another one goes down. There's just so much change around the regulatory landscape that from a finance perspective, financial reporting skills and regulatory reporting skills within large finance functions are definitely in high demand.
But we're maybe not seeing a massive need for change professionals, which is quite strange.
Interestingly, I just had a conversation with a partner at a large consulting firm this morning who was talking about huge demand in his space. I think we're still seeing that a lot of big firms, big clients, are going down that consulting route as opposed to individual contractors or individual resource. Whether that gives them the comfort, I'm not 100% sure the reasoning behind that, but that certainly there does seem to be demand in that, but it seems to be for managed teams rather than individual.
Outsourcing the headache.
Correct.
Yeah, outsourcing all the risk as well.
Absolutely, or perceived. They perceive it to be outsourcing the risk, whether that's the truth.
We should also add another area that we're seeing a big demand for is actually sales.
Yes.
So we're seeing quite a lot of roles within a lot of the tech firms that we work with for salespeople. So it's to get the message out there. I think those businesses are now there's a lot of businesses at the crunch point, aren't there, where you've built this great solution and now you've got to go out there and sell it.
Do you think that is hopefully a positive sign in terms of general market confidence? The fact that people are looking to upskill in terms of their sales capability because they believe there's market opportunity out there?
Yes. So what I've seen is a lot of businesses popping up, funnily enough, to do cybersecurity solutions within the tech space. What I would say is that there's a lot of people in that race. So for as many winners we see, we'll probably see a lot of losers as well. So we're seeing a lot of tech firms looking to provide those solutions, but not everyone's going to be the next big thing.
No, absolutely.
But they are at these. There's a lot of businesses we speak to at really critical points where they've had their funding and now they're at the point they need to produce. So that's why we're seeing more of an impact for sales.
So it's that take to market point, within their sales cycle.
Good, right? So the downside, what's not so good?
Traditional change, transformation, project management, business analysis. I think we're which has been my bread and butter for years, as you well know.
Yep.
I'm really seeing a shortage of those types of roles across the. But I guess that's just an indicative of a change in dynamic of the market.
Yep. What's not so good in our area, in the other verticals we look after, is, as we said before, probably the entry level roles.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those traditional admin heavy functions, which are probably being phased out. Within the financial services sector, investment operations has been under the cosh for quite a while. Not so much because of AI, but mainly because of a lot of offshoring. But there are one or two good things happening.
Good.
I mean, BlackRock, big business. They've recently moved premises and plans to invest a lot in the UK office. I think I'm fine to say that. I think it's out there in the public sector.
Yeah.
If not BlackRock, let's have a chat. And I think there's a few little things like that are going to hit the press quite soon with some investment in that space, because Edinburgh's built in a large back office operational hub, or traditionally. So it'd be good to start seeing more jobs there, because I think a lot of the candidates we speak to in that market haven't moved much.
No.
You know, this is a market that used to be traditionally fluid, and we're seeing people who have stayed in the same company for a long, long time because they've got lack of opportunities. Now, what we see sometimes is that with people in that investment middle back office space, when you're with a business for a long, long time, you can get incredibly niche through internal promotions, and sometimes we'll get people who come to us, and it's very, very difficult to place them.
There are so many, as you say, their skill set is so focused in a particular area that is sometimes unique to that one business. To then translate that into another area and another completely different business is
so we need
impossible.
so the more jobs,
dynamism, movement,
more dynamism, the better for that market. So
but on that point as well, you mentioned BlackRock, which is great news for the Edinburgh market as a whole. I think a lot of the other, or certainly a few of the other traditional large-scale volume hirers across all disciplines, the banks, the insurance companies, etc., that haven't been doing a huge amount over the last couple of years. Certainly conversations would suggest that 2026 looks to be more of a promising year. There definitely seems to be slightly more confidence across the markets, which will hopefully result in some. But notwithstanding all the tough stuff about AI, etc., that we've talked about, there does seem to be a more positive bent on what 2026 looks like.
Laurie will be cross at us if we don't talk about HR.
Of course.
So I caught up with her before we had this chat to say, what's kind of hot in her market, and what she's seeing is a slight increase in the need for talent acquisition people and recruiters, in line with maybe things coming up. But
everyone needs good recruiters, Mike.
But it's the experienced ones that they're needing. So although businesses are maybe cautiously starting to recruit again, it's the experienced recruiters that are in demand. So people who understand the jobs. I think that's going to be key.
And hopefully, again, going back to the issue of AI, etc., and AI in the recruitment process, those experienced recruiters probably bring that more personal touch to the recruitment process. Yeah,
well, also I think as well, the traditional, our industry is no different to the others we talked about. So the traditional route to become a recruiter is you start off doing resourcing, or you start off doing admin. And again, even our business, we've invested in a lot of tools as opposed to boots on the ground. We're seeing that continue.
No, absolutely.
I think that sums everything up for this quarter.
I think so. We'll keep you up to speed. If there's any significant changes, we'll let you know.
Watch this space.